Bună ziua la toată lumea, mersi că ați venit.
Hello and welcome everyone. We are going to begin and probably participants will connect via the meeting. The presentation is recorded and translated. I am going to begin by starting off a presentation of the first half of the year, and then we are going to have a Q&A session. You are welcome to join. As you know, Impact celebrated last year 30 years since its establishment. It's a very important milestone for a Romanian company. The history of the company is known by everyone. You have it here in the presentation, and I'm going to highlight the important milestones. During this time, we developed 17 projects, and when I talk about projects, I refer to large projects in the entire country. Impact was constantly positioned as a leader on the residential market with accessible pricing, building communities. It was the first developer who constructed a community in the sense of a Bucharest suburb. As I stated, we have projects in a lot of cities in the country, and our strategy presented last year has come back to this national expansion plan. We were more present throughout the country as compared to in Bucharest in the past. In our growth strategy from last year, we focused on 3 pillars. Geographical expansion was one of them. We opened projects in Constanța and Iași, and we are moving towards main and secondary cities. The second relates to the diversification of the portfolio related to servicing these communities via services, namely community services. For example, proximity stores with services necessary for the community. We also have the wellness framework for the community as well, so that you can benefit from all of the facilities, primordial, essential facilities within a small radius from your apartment building. We dedicated ourselves to sustainability. We are already implementing the NZEB standards in all of our projects, and in addition to this, we moved on with excellence standards as well, and we are one of the first in Romania who aligned their projects and activity with these standards, and this happened in full in terms of all of our projects. At the national level, our development started in Constanța, a historical city. We had there the Boreal project, and now we have Boreal Plus. The first part of the project was delivered this autumn, and we are in the last stages of the permitting stage for our building of residential buildings. We have a secure community with services, important services, and this is the first project in Moldova. Of course, we are targeting the cities of Brașov and others. Our 2 brands that we are going to describe more in detail, which we want to move towards other cities in the country. Greenfield is developed on huge surfaces between 10 and 50 hectares, not necessarily central, but targeted towards nature areas, as long as the land plot permits it. Luxuria is a compact concept. We move towards the inside of cities with this project, and it has an above average level in terms of pricing and quality. So we create large communities, sustainable communities. This is the first pillar of our development, and we want to promote it. The residential market is continuously volatile based on the factors that have affected us this year, and here I'm referring to increase of costs and the war in Ukraine. we still maintain our opinion that demand is higher than the offer, but the building activity itself is reduced, and we want to maintain our position of leader on the market with accessible prices. So we are constantly investing in sustainability in order to develop environmentally friendly living spaces. The ESG framework report was published. Hopefully you can hear us now. We are sorry, it was a small technical issue. We are coming back to the presentation now. So can everybody hear us? Okay, great. So we can continue. We were discussing of our ESG framework. This is where we left off. As I stated, we have an opinion of Sustainalytics, and we had a transparency index of 10 out of 10 from our year. And you can visit our website for more information. In terms of group structure, we have a lot of companies. Most of them are SPVs for project finance. For example, Greenfield Copo from Iași. We have the Luxuria project as well, and we have two more active companies, let's say, Impact Finance, which is part of Toporaș for financing for our projects for clients. This is something that is offered for clients of the company so that they can find funding and acquire, purchase our units. And we have Spazio. This was recently launched. It's part of the facility management and property management side for our clients. We manage units from the residential areas we have developed, and this is for investors as well who are interested in these units from the areas we have developed. This is our team. You have a lot of details on our website. I'm not going to insist on this aspect. In terms of development on the stock exchange, we had a very good year. We exceeded the stock exchange indexes. We had over 1 billion lei stock exchange capitalization. We had operations related to share capital increase, and we also had a split of shares last year. These are the indexes that are also published on the stock exchange. As you see, we have exceeded a lot of the asset factors. In terms of market context, I'm going to focus on the first half of the year. We started well in January. We concluded a lot of contracts that were unexpected in a way, and we also benefited from the reduced VAT regulation. This was good, but February came with the war in Ukraine. We had a lot of issues in terms of the projects related to credit side. For example, Greenfield, we had a decrease of 56%. We recovered part of this decrease, but the increase of the situation led to low desire. So the increase of ROBOR led to a low desire of people to purchase units, residential units. On the other side, we had an increase in investor side for Luxuria, for example, where we registered an exponential increase growth. So we have pre-sales as of 618 units estimated at 73 million. As I stated, we had these decreases. You can see the shift on the market in terms of property versus renting. So people who cannot access loans for the purchase of an apartment are moving towards renting. The values are reaching the European level, so this makes investors more interested. This was also seen because we sold a lot of large, significant packages in terms of apartment buildings, and this was beneficial for us. And the development also helped us grant more property management facilities for these investors.
Considering this period that was complicated with the price increases, with the perspective of increasing in cost, we took a decision, a strategical one, to reintegrate the business on the vertical. Last year, we finalized the RTTE M&A, the acquisition of this company, and we took the majority share, and we are talking about the vertical integration. We have two purposes: to control the costs, also on scale efforts when we talk about acquisitions and centralizing those, and we want to accelerate the production side of the business to be ready when the market will recover. We have these two brands, Luxuria and Greenfield. Boreal is in Constanța. It's a historical project. We're talking about over 20 years of impact in financing, and we will only develop Luxuria and Greenfield. Flagshipul nostru, our flagship Greenfield, we have 100% rate of sale. We have over 1,200 units in construction. We have here a compound with services for the community. We have here the 1,200 flats that are being developed and that come with new technical. We have this park which is above the ground, and this is very important for our clients, the ones above the ground. It's also an accommodation comfort, and we found this solution that satisfies the solutions. And we also have some heating for these units, for these blocks. And we will continue to develop the Greenfield project. We want to build further 2,500 flats. And we're talking about the development. And this is actually why we wanted to go for the sharing capital increase. Luxuria has the BREEAM Excellent certificate in Romania, and this was very important for the investors. Huge marketing for this project. In Iași, we are waiting for the building permit, and we will begin the construction site. We have this area near the botanical garden in Iași. There are services here, and we have a community center, kindergarten, all services that are required for a community. The Boreal project, we are finalizing the first phase. This year we want to complete it. Here we have the houses sector. Here we have 18 independent villas. We are building now independent units. And talking, we finalized the first phase. We will start the second phase, and we intend to launch the building here also. Luxuria City Center, it's a perspective project. We have 25,000 square meters in land, and we have the architectural side, and we have a mix of residential and a hotel and the commercial area. It's a unique project for us, a typical to us, and we have also the market there. It's also positioning challenges. By the end of the year, we will apply for the zoning documentation, and we will see how it goes. We have 120,000 square meters. Greenfield West, it's in the Boulevard of Timișoara. It's a very big. It's the western side of the Bucharest. Is similar to the Greenfield in Băneasa as positioning and also as a surface. Here we are in the zoning phase also. We might have over 5,500 units. As I mentioned, we are in the zoning phase also here. We want also to develop in the next 5 years of over 4,000 apartments. We are in different stages of due diligence for the land. I will invite Claudiu, our CFO, to bring some figures. We have rapidly adjusted to the new economic context, and we have good results. We had a gross profit increase of 64%, above our target, of course, of 30%. The operational expenses were optimized, and we reduced the share from 22 to 18%. And overall, we have a net profit margin of 15%. If we look at the balance sheet, we continue the investments in our headquarters. Then we continued the investments in the next street mall from Băneasa in the Plaza, and also other projects, Greenfield Băneasa and Boreal Plus. This we had real estate investments plus 3%. We continued financing our own projects. We have the working capital, and we will provide also the financing for the next project. Looking on the asset side, adjusted as per EPRA standard, we had a net adjusted asset of 370 million euro. And when we talk about the net disposal value, we have 233 million. As development projects, we revert to our strategy from last year. We have these projects that we referred to above previously, and you can see some figures here, and you have the EPRA value as developments that we target on the short term and medium term in the phases 1, 2, 3 in Greenfield Băneasa. We want to finish them in the first quarter of 2023. We're launching from this year, phases 4 and 5. We have 435 units, following that in the third quarter, we will focus on 6 and 7 with almost 600 units. In the city center, we have in Băcărescu and Greenfield West with 5,500 units. In Iași, we have over 1,000 units in Cupou, and in Boreal Plus, the first phase they are going to be delivered this fall. We have a very healthy financial status, 20% financial liabilities when compared to with assets, and we have between bonds, project finance, and working capital. So we are very balanced on the debt side, and in our plan we must target the indicators that were approved by the GMS, and we have 40% liabilities to assets, and we have 65% for the project. We have a net liability over EBITDA is 3.5, and project finance we have an MPV of 65%. We're over 50%, and the projects that we start and finish, we will have a gross margin of 35%. We had 39% in the first half. So these are the targeted indicators.
In what concerns the increase side, we raised collected financing in order to continue the Greenfield project. 50 million euros will be invested here, and for the Iași project, which we want to begin, will require up to 100 million. Basically, for the next years, we have to reach the target of 100,000 square meters currently under construction. So, and a value of over 1.3 billion. In terms of estimates, on the net profit side, you can see there our estimation for the next 5 years, a margin of the net profit increasing up to 21% next year, up to 30% in 5 years. Here you have another estimation related to the profit as of next year. This is a most likely case estimation. I think we can do even better than what is shown here. In terms of developments, we depend on property deadlines and property related deadlines. So basically, we are going to compensate similar surfaces throughout the country in order to maintain a constant value of the asset level. This was a brief presentation. You can find it on our website and you can study it in detail. And now we are here for you and your questions. Thank you very much. We should define the south area. Okay, so we are now targeting large cities, over 500,000 inhabitants. So that's why we are moving towards the western side of the country and Constanța. At the moment, we don't have anything related in plan related to the southern area, except for Constanța, where we want to launch phase 2 of the project. But this depends a lot on the sales that we are going to record this autumn and the conclusion of the first phase, of course.
Dacă mai sunt întrebări.
If there are questions from the audience.
Așteptăm. Bun, dacă nu mai sunt întrebări, o să vă...
If there are no questions, I'm going to talk about our margins this year. Last year in August, we received the approval of the board of directors for capital increase and the preemption right. We do this as mainly in order to finance our development projects, but we also target increase of the free float. We succeeded up until now to ensure an increase of 4.5 million, which was comprised of 2 private placements in the account of reserves. As I stated, we are going to continue in the next year to conclude capital increases, share capital increases, in order to fund our development project. The free float increase remains a very important aspect. We want to fulfill our main indexes. The BET index is our main target, and we hope to ensure it, achieve it as quickly as possible. Our target in 1 year, 1.5 years, is to reach a company value of over 500 million. We have a question. The cost of construction materials has started to decrease. Are there perspectives to improve the profit margin? We have improved the profit margin in the last year. This was mainly due to the conjunction of price increase, namely when we analyze our current construction to historical prices. Of course, the cost has decreased. There has been a lot of demand in this year, but with in the context of this energy price spike, we are going to see. Up until now, the costs were related to distribution chains or high demand. Let's see now, based on the cost of energy, this has affected the cost of materials in general. So I'm not expecting a significant decrease. Even more so, we expect a higher increase, but I don't estimate another decrease. There were variations at a certain point in time, and certain costs were reduced, such as iron, but you can analyze in Germany, for example, in terms of production costs, I don't see another decrease. And that's why for the next year, I estimated that the prices will increase actually. The threshold and of course investors' appetite who analyze this interpretation of this asset class next to the fixed income that they can achieve based on renting will influence the situation. As I stated, even if demand is significantly higher than the offer, the building activity is reduced, and this is mainly due to the permitting process, especially in Bucharest. So to answer the question, even if certain materials will have price adjustments, the changes will not be significant, and the trend will move and continue to move towards price increase.
Ok. Dacă mai sunt întrebări.
If there are other questions.
Ar mai fi un element important.
There's another important element to share with you. For over a year, we have been conducting a development study related to buildings where we can move in with prefabricated elements so that we can reduce cost and increase production speed in terms of these residential buildings, which are our targets in the end. From the 7th and 8th stage of Greenfield project, we are going to use this technique that I mentioned, and these buildings that were used throughout time will suffer improvements, and we are discussing with prefabricated materials producers, for example, related to elevator systems, prefabricated bathrooms, and we believe that these discussions will lead to a higher productivity and will increase and speed up the development rate. We are the first developer who does this at a high volume level, and we intend for all of our developments, including Greenfield West, to benefit from this strategy. And this will overall improve performance of the company.
Yes. For those of you who were not here in the video call, when looking at financial results, you have to realize that our assets are being erased from the values of lands and their valuation. Actually, in Greenfield we have 30 per meter. Plus 10 where there are buildings, the valuations are very low, historical low. The land around us have now values that are being sold around our project. Our projects are very high. We want to mention that because when valuing our assets, the real value would be a lot higher. Starting with January 1st, we will also consolidate the group profit side, and we will use IFRS 5 and recording the sales as per the phase of construction. So there will be a change of the manner that we will report starting next year. Basically, this policy will allow us to highlight very well the activity of the company. We will not suffer adjustments from the revenues that were recognized only at sale time. This will be shown in the operational performance of the company. So we are aligning with the reporting system of other developers, and we will be able to become a correct benchmark in the market. Teodora, something to add? You can talk about the ESG policy a bit because we didn't detail it enough. When talking about sustainable development, we have a finalized project. If we are talking about energy efficiency, our purpose to see 80–90% to be compliant to the BREEAM Excellence certification. If there are any more questions on your side, you have our contact details on the site. You have there the questions and answers section. Teodora is responsible for communicating to. If you have further questions, if not, if they come later to you, please contact us, write to us. We want to be transparent in our relation with you. Thank you for participating, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.